In a world that never stops talking, silence has become a revolutionary act. We are surrounded by a constant cacophony of opinions, notifications, social media debates, and the internal noise of our own restless minds. We feel a desperate need to be heard, to be validated, and to fill every empty second with words. But have you ever noticed that the person with the most power in the room is often the one who speaks the least? Silence is not the absence of thought. It is the ultimate manifestation of it. It is the shield of the wise and the fortress of the strong. 2,000 years ago, the founders of Stoicism understood a secret that modern society has forgotten: that our words are like arrows. Once released, they can never be pulled back, and their impact can change the course of a life or an empire forever. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, used to say that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so that we may hear more than we speak. He understood that the more we talk, the more we expose our vulnerabilities, our lack of self-control, and our ignorance. Today, on Logos Living, we are going to explore why silence is your greatest neglected superpower. We will learn how to weaponize stillness, how to use silence to command respect, and how to find the peace that exists in the gaps between your words. This is the art of Stoic silence. Let us begin. Epictetus, a man who survived the chains of slavery to become the teacher of emperors, taught that the tongue is a wild animal. If you do not cage it, it will eventually turn and bite you. He famously said, "Let silence be your general rule," or say only what is necessary and in few words. Think about your last argument. Think about the last time you said something in anger that you regretted 5 minutes later. Why did it happen? It happened because the tongue acted faster than the mind. Stoic philosophy teaches us that between a stimulus and a response, there is a space. In that space lies our freedom and our power. Silence is the gatekeeper of that space. When you choose silence, you are not being passive. You are actively filtering your thoughts. You are practicing the Stoic discipline of assent, refusing to let a raw emotion transform into a damaging word. The Stoics believed that speaking without purpose was a waste of the soul's energy. Every word you utter is a piece of yourself that you give away. Wise men and women are frugal with their words because they know their value. They don't speak to fill the air. They speak to change it. By observing more and speaking less, you begin to see the world as it truly is, not as your emotions want it to be. You become an observer of life rather than a victim of its noise. There is a profound psychological truth to silence. It creates authority. When you speak constantly, your words lose their weight. They become predictable, common, and easily ignored. But when you are a person of few words, every time you open your mouth, the world leans in to listen. Robert Greene, in his 48 Laws of Power, echoes the Stoic sentiment when he says, "Always say less than necessary." In any social interaction, the person who remains silent usually has the upper hand. Why? Because silence makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to talk to fill the void, and in doing so, they reveal their intentions, their insecurities, and their secrets. Marcus Aurelius, as the emperor of Rome, had to navigate a court full of spies, flatterers, and enemies. He used silence as his primary tool of observation. He understood that a leader who talks too much is a leader who provides his enemies with a map of his mind. Silence allowed him to maintain his dignity and his inner citadel. It allowed him to remain centered while the world around him was in chaos. In your own life, whether in a business meeting, a relationship, or a confrontation, silence gives you the time to evaluate the situation with logic rather than impulse. It allows you to respond with the logos, the rational mind, instead of the ego. Remember, you cannot be misquoted if you do not speak. You cannot be manipulated if you do not reveal your hand. One of the hardest tests of the Stoic path is how we handle the opinions of others. We live in an era of cancel culture and constant criticism. Our instinct is to defend ourselves, to argue, to scream back. But the Stoics had a different approach, the shield of silence. Cato the Younger, a legendary Stoic known for his unshakable integrity, was once struck in the face while at the public baths. When the attacker later came to apologize, Cato simply replied, "I don't even remember being hit." He didn't argue. He didn't seek revenge. He didn't even give the event the dignity of his words. By remaining silent, he showed that the attacker was so insignificant that his actions couldn't even reach Cato's mind. This is the power of non-reaction. When someone insults you, they are trying to steal your peace. They want a reaction because a reaction is a sign that they have power over you. Silence is the ultimate no. It tells the world, your words have no home here. Furthermore, silence is the only environment where deep work and self-development can happen. You cannot hear the voice of your own reason if you are constantly talking or listening to the talk of others. We avoid silence because it forces us to face ourselves. It forces us to look at our fears and our flaws. But the Stoic doesn't run from the quiet. We embrace it. We use the silence to audit our souls, to refine our character, and to prepare for the challenges of tomorrow. Silence is the laboratory of the self. So, how do we integrate this into our daily lives? Here is your Logos living challenge for the next 7 days. First, practice the pause. When someone asks you a question, wait 3 seconds before answering. Notice how much more thoughtful your response becomes. Second, avoid low-value speech. For one day, try not to complain, gossip, or speak about things you cannot change. You will be surprised at how much energy you save. Third, find 10 minutes of absolute silence every day. No phone, no music, no books. Just you and your thoughts. As we close this chapter, remember that your silence is your sanctuary. It is where your strength is born and where your wisdom is refined. Don't be afraid of the quiet. Be afraid of a life spent saying everything and meaning nothing. If you found peace in this video, please give it a like and share it with someone who needs to find their own stillness. Subscribe to Logos, living to continue this journey of self-mastery with us. Leave a comment below with the word silence if you made it to the end, and let me know. What is the hardest part about being quiet for you? Until next time, guard your words, master your mind, and stay stoic.